Hello and welcome, BitMonger family. J Monger here. Top of the day to you guys. Hope you're all doing well. And in today's video, I am going to be musing on what I'm seeing in the markets. And if you guys don't know, if you're just watching this for the first time, I am a Bitcoin crypto stock investor that's done very well and now live down at my beach house in Thailand, living the baller life while making money on my sofa. Okay, so what I'm seeing today is this, guys. I'm seeing right now kind of like doldrums, really doldrums. And as I get into the video more, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm also looking at the market and it being potentially overheated. There's a lot of questions that we need to see answered in order to get clear direction, or so I believe. So this is kind of a state where, you know, you need to be careful about deploying capital if you're looking to do so. If you're doing dollar cost average type of investing, well, then just continue to do so. But with that noted, let's go ahead and get into this a little bit more and what I'm seeing. So we can see, the stocks dropped a little bit, not too much. If we're looking at the futures market now, we can see it's looking positive. Asia opened up. It's kind of, still is fairly early. It doesn't, it's slightly red, but not that bad. Not that bad. It's slightly red. Yesterday we can see our stocks. Some of these in my list that stocks that I own. It's a mixed bag, mostly red though. So we're looking at a downtrend, but looking again at the futures, we can see it's opening up green. So we might be getting a slight relief rally, but this is what I want to get into here, guys. Let's take a look at this. And this is the 3 monthly. Okay, so it's going all the way back to 2008, okay? 2009. This is the great financial crisis. And I like to look at things from this perspective, from this point in time, because at this point in time when we had the great financial crisis, the whole debt cycle and everything kind of got shifted with that huge bailout of the banks, in which we started printing money absurdly to crazy amounts. And it's also the beginning, the genesis of Bitcoin, which is, the best, most asymmetric asset that you could be in during this past, 17 years, okay? So, I'm looking at this, and we can see it's going up, up, up. I mean, it is really rallied. We can see right here the dip that we had, and it did come down. And I drew this trend line. Let's take a look at this from a shorter time frame now. We'll go into the monthly. Okay. So we can see it's on a nice uptrend. We can see it's getting up over here. It's getting the RSI. It's coming up. It could still go up a little bit more, guys, but it could potentially roll over because it is looking overbought. Let's go ahead and take a look at the daily, and we can see it's starting to roll over. It's starting to come down. So we can see here on the weekly time frame, it has been an absolute tear, guys. I mean, when is this? This probably is Liberation Day, would be my guess. Exactly. Yep, Liberation Day, when Trump, fucking threw out that shit bomb. It has just been tearing up. I mean, look at the amount of days. Oops. Look at the amount of days here, guys, that this has been on a tear. It's just insane. Look at that. I mean, this has been on an absolute tear. So do I think that this is, is this starting to roll over? It certainly looks like it. And it wouldn't surprise me if it did. Generally speaking, the month of September is not a good month for the stock markets. And you might be asking yourself, Monger, why are you looking at the NASDAQ when you're a crypto Bitcoin guy? Well, honestly, guys, we need to be real with ourselves. Bitcoin is still very much correlated to the NASDAQ. So if the NASDAQ dumps, Bitcoin is likely it's not gonna be in its own bubble. It's gonna fucking tank as well. Everything tanks usually. The only thing that usually gets a bid is dollars, and when shit starts getting messy. The next best thing would be to be in gold, which I'll get into later, because I do believe that gold is probably a very good hedge because it is the most uncorrelated asset at this time. And if deployed properly, if held as a hedge and then deployed properly in a wicked bear market, it could be a very good trade. So that's something that I'm considering. You might want to consider that as well. As this market moves up, we will get a correction at some point. And it's probably a good idea. If you have a lot of money in the markets, it's probably not a bad idea to take, anywhere between 5 to 15% of your portfolio and to stick it into gold. Okay? At least that's my belief. And I'm looking to add to my gold stack because I feel a little bit underweight based on how much the market's gone up over, since the past few years. It's just, well, you can see it's just been going crazy looking at that chart, right? Look at that, guys. You go back, like we saw earlier, this has been on an absolute tear. I think the NASDAQ was up about 14 to 15% in the past 6 months. Guys, remember, traditional markets usually only average around 8%, maybe 10%. So we've been on an absolute tear. Now, the next thing that I wanted to get to is, what's the thing that I'm concerned about? Well, actually, and that is this, and the whole Federal Reserve interest rate decision. This has been a focus of people now in the markets ever since. It's become much more focused upon in the past decade or so, of people just focusing on what the Fed does with their funds, because everything is tied to this, guys. If they start printing money and lowering interest rates, stocks and risk assets generally rip. So everybody's keeping their eye on this right now. In terms of the NASDAQ, okay, I did some queries and I checked on the NASDAQ, and I wanted to know over the past 17 years, because like I said, I'm only looking at things from 2000, since the great financial crisis forward. I'm looking at those time frames as numbers that I want to work with. And we can see, I queried it and I asked, what's the average return of the NASDAQ in the month of September for the past 17 years? And the result was we get about a negative 1.76%. So in some years we're pretty volatile. We did in 2020, we did have a tech sector correction, which was a 5.2% drawdown. And looking at where we are right now in the markets, could that happen, and could it still be in a total bull trend? Absolutely. So that's what I'm seeing right now. I'm not looking to deploy much capital, only if we see a significant dip. If you're completely out of the market, can't tell you what to do. Remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor, but I always like to have skin in the game, because in some cases, in the short term, it's always kind of a coin fucking flip. Long term is where you make the money. People that try to actively trade usually are losers. Tiny percent are money makers of active traders. Long-term trading is the way to go. That's the way you make the most money. And the way you do that is just by buying fucking massive extreme fear events, and just making sure that those extreme events are not at the beginning of a bear market. So as long as you know where we are in the cycle, where we are in the trend, you can never perfectly pick a bottom, but if you're buying extreme fear after there's been negative sentiment for months, then you're probably doing the right thing. And it's hard to do that when everybody's screaming the sky's falling, but that's how you win, buying those and then being patient. And the next thing that I like to do as a trader, because I'm more of an investor than a trader per se, and that is I like to swing trade. So, the way I do it is I usually look for low points on the Fibonacci levels for drawdowns. I put my bids down low. I be patient. I manage it very well using leverage. You need to manage risk. That's the number one thing in trading is knowing how to manage risk so you don't lose your shit. So that's what I do, and I really enjoy it. It gives me something to do, and I get dopamine hits when I, make fucking wise choices and make fucking bank sitting on my sofa in Thailand with my beautiful Thai wife and going down to the beach and eating shrimps and drinking beers, okay? That fucking makes me happy, and I love it. Maybe you enjoy it too. So you might want to, watch what I'm doing. Give feedback. I'd be interested to hear how you guys manage your money and trade, or what you're thinking on your trading strategies. Again, we're all different types of investors. Just so you guys know, a huge chunk of my portfolio is in the traditional stock markets, mostly in tech stocks. That's how I invest. But everybody has different strategies, depending on your risk-reward appetite and what you're, willing to lose. That's always got to be in the back of your mind. Are you trying to, grow your capital, or are you trying to protect it? Or are you just trying to protect it and have some, keep up with inflation, preferably? Everybody's different. Anyways, we got the fear and greed index. As you guys can see here, I'd like to look at this one. Currently, like I said, we're kind of in no man's land. Stock markets and slightly in greed, which I think come down. Crypto's kind of slight greed. I saw another one saying it was neutral, but this is kind of neutral, right? Bitcoin dominance is coming down, which is a good sign. That means our altcoins are going to probably rip. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin did have a nice little pump today. It's trading back over. We can see it's currently trading at 111,000, which is nice. Good to see that. Sol has done very well. If you guys followed my Sol bet, you are smiling. I mean, guys, this is one that I've made a huge amount of money with. I got into this trade like at $20, took profits when it got overheated, and then re-entered the market. And I'm expecting this coin to do very well. And I'm also betting on its ecosystem plays. You guys can look at my other videos to see which coins that I would be interested in. I've talked about them before. So that's my thoughts on the market. Some ideas that you might want to be considering. If you got into that Ondo trade, you're in the money. Well done. And we wish you guys all a fantastic day. And monger on.